I knew the elk was tagged. I took the shot anyway. I make my living killing animals. Other people don't want to kill themselves. I'm licensed, contracted. The state hires me for population control, problem animals, recovery work. I file reports. I log coordinates. I take photos. Everything I do is clean on paper. That matters to me. The elk I shot last November was already tagged. I didn't realize that until after. The job that week was routine, late season control in a mixed-use forest, hunting land stitched awkwardly into a conservation easement. The kind of place where rules change without signs, where a boundary can be the width of a trail. I'd been doing this for 12 years. I know how to read the land. That morning, frost clung low and bright. Every step sounded wrong in my ears, too loud, like the woods were empty enough to hear me think. I adjusted my radio twice because it kept clicking. Not static, just a brief open channel, like someone keying in and letting go. The elk stepped out of the trees, heavy and unhurried. Big bull, scarred shoulder, one antler chipped near the tip. He stood broadside longer than felt natural. Steam lifted off his back in slow bursts, each breath visible. I remember thinking, that's odd. He should have moved. Then I told myself what I always do. Sick animal, worn down, didn't anthropomorphize. I lined up the shot. The tag wasn't visible until I walked up to him. Yellow plastic, clipped clean through the ear, fresh enough that the edges still shone. A research tag, conservation grade, serialized. I stared at it for longer than I want to admit. My radio clicked open again. Status check, dispatch said. Her voice sounded flatter than usual, like she was reading. Good, I said. All good. I didn't mention the tag. I rested my hand on the elk's neck and felt the heat leaving him. Ran the rules in my head, jurisdiction, coordinates. The line between a managed kill and a violation is sometimes a matter of steps. I checked my GPS. I was legal. Barely. The paperwork went through too easily. There's a checkbox for unusual circumstances. I left it empty. When I attached the photos, I cropped instinctively. Not carefully, just enough that the ear didn't make the frame. The system accepted the report. No follow-up, no clarification request. The silence felt like approval. 3 days later, an automated email hit my inbox. Correction notice. Do not respond. It said a clerical update had been made to wildlife tracking data and that my submission had been reconciled with existing records. Reconciled. As if two versions of the same event had briefly overlapped and one had been chosen. I was assigned back to the same forest the following week. Different species, same access road, frost again, thin fog pooled between trees like it had weight. As I hiked in, I noticed orange tape tied high on the trunks, spaced evenly. Not trail markers, grid markers, probably research work. I keyed my radio. Are conservation teams active out here today? I asked. There was a delay, long enough that I had to check my signal. They're usually somewhere in the area, dispatch said. Why? No reason, I said. A few minutes later, the birds stopped. Not all at once, just thinning, one call at a time until the woods felt padded, like sound had somewhere else to go. I slowed down without deciding to. Every so often, I had the sense of stepping into a space that had just been vacated. Not animals, no people. I found the blind by accident, half hidden, dug in, permanent, plywood walls, insulated roof, narrow viewing slit angled toward a clearing I recognized immediately. This was built for long-term observation, for hunters or for, I don't know. Inside was a plastic sealed logbook. I didn't open it. The smell was enough. Old blood, rot, layered with antiseptic, like someone had tried to keep things clean after it was already too late. I backed out slowly, suddenly aware of how exposed the clearing felt, how well it could be watched from multiple angles. I told myself the same things I always do. You're not assigned to this. You don't have clearance. Someone else is responsible. Those thoughts are how you stay employed and sane. That night, when I logged my GPS data to recharge, the device flagged an error. Location conflict. Data adjusted. The coordinates matched the blind from earlier. The time stab matched the day I shot the elk. I stared at the screen until it dimmed. I didn't report the error. I powered the unit off and told myself it was a software glitch. Another correction notice arrived 2 days later. This one was more specific. It stated that no protected wildlife was present in the specified area during the reported time frame. Not harmed, not relocated, not lost, not present. I called dispatch. Her voice was careful this time, like every word had been pre-approved. I'm not in trouble, am I? I asked. No, she said. Why would you be? It feels like something's being cleaned up, I said, and I'm standing too close to it. She exhaled softly. Sometimes, she said, things get handled above the level they start at. I went back to the blind the next morning. I told myself I was documenting an unregistered structure. That is a legitimate concern. The blind was gone. Not damaged, not dismantled, removed. The ground beneath it had been raked smooth, leaf litter redistributed carefully like a crime scene after processing. Except for one thing. Pressed deep into the soil was a single hoofprint, larger than the elk's. Too large to belong to anything listed in my manuals. I reported that. That was my mistake. My supervisor called within the hour. His voice was calm, practiced. You do good work, he said. We don't want to complicate that. I think that tagged animals are disappearing, I said, and the records are being rewritten. He paused. Are you saying that as a professional concern, he asked, or a personal discomfort? There it was. I didn't answer fast enough. Take a few days, he said. Clear your head. A month later, the population numbers for the forest were quietly revised downward. Stress-related migration loss. No deaths recorded. I stood where I'd taken the shot and finally understood. The system didn't need me to lie. It only needed me to be precise, accurate enough to be defensible, incomplete enough to be useful. Last week, a new assignment came through. Same forest, different species. Sat in my truck with the engine off, listening to the woods settle around me. Somewhere deep in the trees, something moved in a way that felt deliberate. Not fast, not hiding. Waiting. I checked my radio, clear signal. I checked my GPS, on the legal side. Before stepping out, I did something new. I scanned the tree line, not for game, not for movement, for vantage points. Because now I understand what I'm actually hired to do. It's not to kill animals. It's to make sure what disappears doesn't get noticed. And if I see another tag today, I don't know if it'll stop.